Tomorrow is primary election day in Pennsylvania, and today registered voters are encouraged to double check where they vote. Several polling places in Allegheny and Westmoreland counties have new locations. Now, the polls open tomorrow morning at 7 and will close at 8 p.m. Voters with a mail-in ballot have until then to return them to their county elections office. And today, KDKA political analyst Jon Delano joining me. Hey, John, how you doing?
It's great to be back.
Well, we're happy to have you back. It's election time again. So tell us, who is going to be going out to vote tomorrow?
Well, I think first we should be clear, this is a primary election, so only Republicans and Democrats get to vote. That means that 1.5 million Pennsylvanians who are registered as independents or unaffiliated or with the Green Party, they don't get to vote.
They get the day
off.
off.
Again, it's Republicans and Democrats, unless there's a ballot question in your particular community. Now, the election officials think the turnout's going to be 30 to 35%. Personally, I think that's high. I think it's more likely 20, 25%.
Is that good for a primary?
It's about average. Okay. It's about average. And these are midterm elections. The real turnout will be in November, when people will come out to vote for their final candidates for Congress, for governor of Pennsylvania, lieutenant governor, and the rest.
Okay.
But these elections are party elections, and it really does depend where you live.
Well, I feel like I get those questions all the time, and I'm sure you get a million of them. Well, I live here. Do I need to vote, right? Do I live in a neighborhood that matters?
Well, the interesting thing is that most of the candidates on the ballot are unopposed. You're going to go in and you'll see no one against them unless you write in a name. But there are some districts that really are important. For example, take the 17th Congressional District. That's half of Allegheny County, all of Beaver County. Republicans in that district are going to choose a nominee to run against the Congressman, Chris DeLuzio. Okay. And of course, they have a choice between the sheriff of Beaver County, Tony Guy, and an Allegheny County manufacturer, small family manufacturer, Jesse James Vodvarka. So the choice for Republicans is there. Then you got a big race in Washington County, Greene County, Fayette County for state senator in the 46th district. And voters there will choose between State Senator Cameron Bartolotta and, of course, the person running against her, Al Buckton. So it really depends on where you live, and you're going to have to sort that out. But I still encourage people to come out and vote. You're not going to know, really, until you get there.
All right. Well, John, we'll have more from you coming up in a little bit. We thank you for your time.
Tomorrow is primary election day in Pennsylvania. You may want to double check where you vote. Several polling places in Allegheny and Westmoreland counties have changed locations. The polls are open tomorrow, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Voters who may still have a mail-in ballot, you have until 8 p.m. tomorrow to return it to your county elections office.
So if you still have your mail ballot and you have not returned it yet, do not put it in the mail. Take it to a Board of Elections office in your county or a Board of Elections drop box and return it in person if you're concerned about it making it back in time by 8 p.m. tomorrow.
Counties are not allowed to begin processing mail-in ballots until 7 tomorrow morning. The state says nearly 70% of Pennsylvania voters who requested absentee or mail ballots have returned them ahead of the primary.
And voters tomorrow will be deciding who they want to represent their party in the general election this fall. KDKA's political analyst Jon Delano is now here with us. Hey, John.
Always good to be back with you guys again.
John, good to see you. Yeah, so there's most races don't even have a contest. It's just one person who will be the candidate in the fall. But there is an unusually spirited contest for state senate down in Washington and Greene counties. It's the incumbent Republican, Cameron Bartolotta, versus challenger Al Buckton.
It's a fascinating race because it's really a question of which one is MAGA enough, which one supports Donald Trump. This is a Republican race. 87,000 Republicans in this Senate district can come out and vote if they choose to. And the campaign ads seem to suggest that this is all about the level of Trump support. But here's what's really interesting. These ads are being paid for by gaming interests because you have on one side, you have a group that supports the gaming, online gaming, you know, like FanDuel and some of those kinds. And then you have on the other side, the skill games operators. And these two groups are supporting one candidate or the other. But you don't hear anything about gaming in the television ads. It's all about MAGA, Trump, and who's the strongest supporter for the president.
Yep, we'll see how that plays out. Meantime, there's a Democratic contested primary for State House District 45.
Right. Pat Katina was making headlines recently, and some were objecting to some, I guess, content that came out from the campaign?
Yes, of course. In his mailing, he really was dealing with transgender sports, particularly in women's sports. But here the race, unlike the Republican race, which is who's MAGA enough, this race is all about who's progressive enough. And the progressive part of the Democratic Party is really holding it against Pat Katina, that he noted the sports aspect of transgenderism. And, you know, a lot of people, including Brittany Blom, who's the opponent on the other side, who is a progressive, says this is not really a state issue. And yet it's being brought into this campaign by, she would say, the Katina people. Fascinating race, and we're going to watch both of them pretty closely tomorrow.
Look forward to having you back with us for election coverage tomorrow night.
I'll be here.
Thanks,
right,
John.
thanks, John.
I encourage every Pennsylvania voter to make their voice heard tomorrow. A healthy democracy depends on their participation.
Secretary of the Commonwealth Al Schmidt today reminding voters to head to the polls tomorrow. It's the Pennsylvania primary. Voters are being encouraged to double check where to go to vote, since several polling places in Allegheny and Westmoreland counties have new locations. The polls are open tomorrow 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. If you still have a mail-in ballot, you have until 8 tomorrow night to return that to your county elections office.
If you requested a mail ballot but decide to vote in person, you have a couple options. If you still have that ballot, you can bring that ballot with you, turn it over to the Board of Election, the people working at your polling place. They will void it and allow you to vote in person. If you no longer have that ballot, you have the ability still to go to your local polling place and vote by what's called a provisional ballot. And the county election office will ensure that a mail ballot was not returned.
Okay, political analyst Jon Delano joins me now. John, the biggest race is for governor. That's at the top of the ballot, but neither party has a race for governor. Uncontested candidates in both
Absolutely uncontested. Nobody is running against Josh Shapiro for governor on the Democratic side, and nobody's running against Republican Stacey Garrity.
So what could tomorrow mean for those candidates?
Well, here's what it means for both of them. Turnout. Which one of these candidates can get the most of his or her party to show up? Both parties in Pennsylvania are relatively equal. 3.8 million Democrats, 3.6 million Republicans. Can one of these candidates, and this is particularly important for Shapiro, really produce a turnout that helps them put them way ahead of the other? We'll see. But there's also another race, which is the one for lieutenant governor.
Yeah, so the incumbent, Austin Davis, is running unopposed, but there's a battle among two Republicans seeking the nomination to challenge Davis.
That's right, and it's a little unusual. Pennsylvania elects or nominates the lieutenant governor candidates on a separate ballot. They don't run with the governor candidate. They do in the fall, but not in the spring. And so this year, Jason Ritchie, who's a Republican attorney here in Pittsburgh, and the chairman of the Republican Party in Allegheny County, is running against John Ventry, who is a retired UPS executive from neighboring Westmoreland County. So these two gentlemen are going back and forth at each other for the Republican nomination for lieutenant governor. Lots of other races on the ballot, we should point out. I mean, you're nominating candidates for Congress as well as for the state House and state Senate. And one interesting thing, many of these candidates who are on the ballot tomorrow in both parties have no opponents at all. In fact, I counted 16 of 40 state House members from our region have absolutely no candidates against them, even in the fall.
They go to, okay, they're just, they're
done deals.
Rubber stamps. All right. Thank you. John's going to join us tomorrow as the returns come in. Watch for his analysis on KDKA Plus at 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. and here at 11 on KDKA.